Hey, it's John Foss. Very excited to be talking with Alexis Linkletter, Billy Jensen. We're talking about Unraveled, Long Island Serial Killer. It's a documentary that's going to be on Discovery Plus. Check it out. It's very good. Guys, tell us what it's about.
So it's a special on Discovery Plus. It's also a 7-part podcast that you can get anywhere you listen to your podcast. And it's about the investigation into the Long Island serial killer. There were 11 bodies found along Ocean Parkway on Long Island 10 years ago. There's still no answers. And we discover why there are no answers. And it goes straight to the top of the police department.
And how did you guys become a team?
So Billy and I have known each other for about, 5 years now? Mm-hmm. And we met because we were both working on projects related to the Golden State Killer case, which is another notable serial killer case that was recently solved. So we met and sort of bonded over that, and then decided, because we're both from Long Island, to team up on this one together as well.
The story begins with you, Alexis. You have a childhood friend, Christopher Loeb. You guys have a previous relationship. Tell us about that relationship and how things got sparked with this story.
So Chris and I have known each other since middle school. We both went to Smithtown Middle School and Smithtown High School on Long Island. And after graduation, we sort of lost touch. But then in 2012, 2013, I started hearing about the situation he'd become enmeshed in. And really, I just set out to tell his story and the story of the violation of his civil rights and the police corruption I observed there. And it's just, once we pulled on that thread, it led us to the Long Island serial killer investigation organically. You know, we never set out to tell this story, but it is how it panned out.
Throughout the documentary and the podcast, one of the main subjects that you guys focus on is the former chief of police, James Burke. You guys have done extensive research, probably know more than anybody, except for the people that were involved, about this story. When you look back right now, do you feel like James Burke is guilty? Is he the serial killer that we're looking for?
You know, I don't think we have not found evidence to go that far, but we definitely found evidence that he halted the investigation. He kicked out the FBI, the most sophisticated crime-solving unit in the history of the world. Why do you do that during a serial killer case? And we learned that he did that because he was doing a lot of nefarious activities and had a lot of nefarious habits that he didn't want anybody looking around at. So he kicked the feds out. He didn't want anybody, encroaching on his fiefdom, and he ran Suffolk County that way, like it was his own little fiefdom.
And in 2016, I believe, he actually did some time because of Christopher, who we talked about earlier, because he actually beat him when he after he was arrested for robbing his vehicle. Where is James Burke today? Is he still locked away, or is he a free man? Where is he at right now?
So in 2016, James Burke was sentenced to 36 months behind bars. He served his time and he's now out, and he's back in the same home where this whole thing began, when Chris stole a duffel bag out of his SUV. So he's back in town, living life as a civilian.
Have you guys received any threats or any pushback from him since he's been out and is a free person again?
You know, we attempted to contact him numerous ways. We sent letters, we talked to his lawyer, and you can watch in the special, there's kind of a veiled threat from his lawyer. We even knocked on James Burke's door, and the person didn't answer, but somebody did talk to us from behind the door, and we do feel like it was probably James Burke. He had gone from being the chief of police to hiding behind a door.
And what about Christopher now? Alexis, do you keep in touch with him? How's he doing? Is he? I know originally at the beginning of the story, we see that he was struggling with drugs in the past, which is what led to his arrests. Have you kept in touch with him? How's he doing now? And is he still a part of this story going forward?
So Chris is, since this happened years ago, he's been so traumatized by this experience, and sobriety for him is really going to be a lifelong issue. So, me and Chris do keep in touch, but he has highs and lows emotionally and, with his sobriety. So it's touch and go at times, but I try my best to be there for him.
The first season of the podcast was 7 episodes, and in the 7th episode, there's new evidence revealed. Where does the story go from here? Do you see this being a multiple season podcast and possibly documentary. Where are you guys at with the story now? Are you still following up on it since you've finished it the first season? Where does it go from here?
Well, we've got the documentary running on Discovery Plus right now. It's streaming right now. But as far as multiple seasons, we're going to continue on the Long Island serial killer case, but we're also covering other cases as well, doing the same thing, which is something that's never really been done before. We are doing a podcast and we have cameras following us around at the same time because so many people, when they listen to podcasts, they also want to see it. They want to see what the people look like. They want to see what the areas look like. And that's what we're able to deliver. So you can listen to the podcast and then you can watch a special that condenses everything on Discovery Plus.
One of the things that you talk about towards the end of the podcast, the first season, is a 911 call that was released to one individual. And that person talked a little bit about it as much as he can, but he can't talk much about it. But also the police have not released the call, and you talk about the controversy there. And there's a new regime in, obviously, since James Burke is gone. How do you feel about the new regime? Do you feel like they are doing a good job? Are they trying to help? Or are there ties to people from the old James Burke regime that were corrupt? Do you feel like they are corrupt, or do you feel like they want to help this situation?
I feel as though the new regime are certainly doing a better job of moving this case forward, and they've made more progress in the last few years than the case has made in, since it first happened, really. That being said, they're not being transparent enough. They have a ton of evidence they're sitting on, and it's been over 10 years, and they can't really explain why. And they do sort of play both ends against the middle, specifically with that 911 call you referenced. So do we believe they're corrupt? Not necessarily. Do we think there's still a massive lack of transparency? Yes. And we've said that to them.
What would success look like when this is all said and done? Would it be if you have the killer revealed so that the families can move on with their lives? What would success look like for you guys?
Well, I think that the success we're already seeing is that we're holding the new regime, the new police regimes, their feet to the fire, and the accountability that they have to be accountable now. Everybody who's listening to the podcast is questioning, why isn't there more evidence being released? Why hasn't it been solved? So I think the fact that they're under a magnifying glass is already, we consider to be success.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much, Alexis, Billy. Great job on this project. Twin Cities, make sure you check it out. Unraveled, Long Island serial killer on Discovery Plus, and also check out the podcast. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.